So I figured it was just easier to send you a video than trying to go through that whole email. I think it's important that you recognize that comparing yourself to other people is normal. It's something that the brain does so that it can figure out or make a judgment on where we are in relation to where we want to be in relation to the circle around us. It's how it tries to figure out where we are situationally and where we want to go so it can make sense. And we can use that information to hurt us or help us. So the first thing I would say is to have some compassion for yourself, that you compare yourself to other people in other situations, because that's normal. The brain is going to do that. Everybody does it. Some do it more than others. But the comparison itself is not actually the problem. The problem is what you're making the comparison mean. In your case, you're making it mean something wrong with you, or which is creating the feeling of self-pity, the feeling of anger. That is the way that you're using your comparison, and it's not helping you or serving you in any way. The other thing that I noticed that you're doing is you're making a lot of assumptions and judgments on someone else's life. And yes, some of those things are visible, but some of those things you don't know. One thing that I've learned about people is that everyone will only show you what they want you to see. Everyone will only tell you what they want you to know. And so when you assume that the whole list of things that you sent in your email are true, and when you assume what he takes for granted and what he doesn't, and what he has to work for and what he doesn't, that's all just your own judgment and assumptions that you then are making mean, are easy for him and harder for you. Okay? Which again, doesn't help you. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that you should stop right away and you should not compare yourself to others, and you should, you're going to stop immediately beating yourself up over those things. That takes time and that takes practice. But what I recommend you do when it starts to come in and you notice it is check in with how you're feeling. I'm feeling angry. Then I would ask myself, because this is where the work is, don't try to immediately turn it around and go to something you don't believe. Process it first. Feel the emotion. Inquire, what is this emotion here to teach me? What can I learn from this feeling of anger? What is this emotion of self-pity here for? You only have room for one emotion at a time. You can only, it's like a parking spot. There's only one car can go into that parking spot at once, which is why when you try to go to the other emotion, it doesn't work, because you're still in that anger, you're still in the self-pity. So the only way to get rid of that is to process it, inquire about it, learn about it, and use it as a way so that you can learn from why it's there, because it's there for a reason. So once you've gone through and asked yourself, how can I understand why this is here? And how you can use it as helpful. How might this feeling of anger be helpful to me? Come up with those reasons why and how they're helping you and how it can help you in your future. That will then at least allow you to start to shift and move away from the feeling of anger and self-pity to maybe a bridge feeling or something that you can believe that can get you out of the stuckness and into action to create the results you want. But you can't do that until you're completely done with the anger and self-pity. It's not gonna work, okay? Once you've done that, do the intentional model, okay? And you'll know when you're ready to do the intentional model because the feeling of anger has subsided and self-pity has subsided, and maybe now you're in a feeling of curiosity, or maybe now you're in a feeling of inspirational. So maybe it's not this person has this, I don't, something's wrong with me. Maybe it's how can I look at my friend's life as inspiring and a goal to get to, as opposed to now making it mean there's something wrong with me. I don't have this. I'll never have this. How can it be used as, wow, this is inspiring. He's showing me what's possible for me. When you get to the action from inspired, what are 10% more actions I could take to get the life that he's shown me is possible? And that is how you can start to move into true growth for yourself. You spin in the self-pity and anger because that's the only way your brain knows how to work from as a motivation to get to what you don't want. It doesn't know how to work from inspiration and peace. It only knows how to work from emotions that feel bad to get your ass moving forward. Because otherwise, you won't work. You'll just not care or be lazy. You need to be in a bad place to motivate yourself, from what I've observed. But it's not necessary to be in a bad place for motivation. You can motivate yourself from a place of gratitude and inspiration and peace. You just have to learn how to do it by practicing it. Training your brain to be motivated from those places instead of the self-pity and anger is possible. Go back to what we discussed about driving the car, passenger and driver. Have the emotion of anger or self-pity in the passenger seat. Drive with curiosity and inspiration and hope. Just keep moving them back and forth. You can't get rid of the anger and self-pity right away because you've learned it so much. You've taught yourself to have it so much that it's necessary, at least for now. So keep it, but just drive with the other. And have some compassion about the comparing yourself to other people. It's going to happen, especially for someone like you who uses judgment quickly so that you can figure things out and move forward. Without you creating a judgment, you can't move forward. You feel stuck. You need to have a finite this, that. What you're learning to do is to not have that, which is why it's bringing you in this place of I need practical, I need concrete, I need, like, And when you don't get that, you get stuck and you get overwhelmed and you get more angry and you spin. But what we've learned is that that doesn't help you. And the reason we know it doesn't help you when you use the judgment to move forward so quickly is that you're not getting the results you want. In some cases. In some cases, you are getting results, but they're not looking like what you think they should look like. And that also frustrates you. If you sit down and look at the last 6 months, maybe even year, what results have you created in the last year for yourself? I think you'd find that there's a long list of wins. Okay, so I think that is it for now. I think that is a good place to end as far as like the comparison. Let me just look at my notes that I took. Okay, yeah, I think that's good. All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.